Good afternoon, everybody. Was that cool or not? I'm Greg Braxton with the Los Angeles Times, and I could not be more thrilled or honored to introduce you to the cast of Landman. First off, Billy Bob Thornton, Larter, Jacob Lofland, and Mr. Andy Garcia. Thank you guys for being here. This is so amazing. I'm trying to get over the butterflies and meeting all you guys, but
We've met.
Billy and Bob and I are old friends, but you guys are, Landland is such a hit show. You got record ratings on Paramount Plus. What's it been like, and when did it register to you that this show was really, a winner and that people were really connecting with it? I wanted to ask all of you that. What was the moment when it registered to you?
I'm not sure.
Are these
check,
on?
Check.
Yeah,
I guess
a little
it
bit.
is.
Hi. Well, thank you so much for having us, and thank you for that. I think that so we put a tremendous amount of effort and thought and care into the first season. From everyone on our crew to the whole cast, nobody's phoning this in. Everyone, from Billy and I doing off camera together to really showing up to try to make the best show that we could. And it's something that we loved from, when we read the first script, and all of us were really invested. So to care about something so much and to try to do your best work and then to have it be received by an audience is absolutely incredible. And I think that it's just the fact that people are drawn to all these different characters and the story and the peek behind the curtain of, the dangerous world of oil, and the fact that it's captivated people is just completely humbling and exciting. And we're really proud of this. And I think honored that so many people have responded to it.
And honestly, it's still, I don't know if we actually comprehend how awesome and big it is at this point, because it just keeps surprising us how much bigger and more attention. So it's, is this thing on?
I'm not sure.
Hello.
I'm not sure
We're
either.
good.
Hello, 1, 2.
Hello.
One. Right on it. You gotta have to actually put it in your mouth, I think.
Okay.
I'm not going to follow that line.
Hey, there we go. Wait. Okay, I'm just going to, project. How's that? Yes, all those things she said, and I feel blessed every day of my life to work with this cast and crew. I mean, you always say that. There are certain things you're supposed to say. You're on a talk show, and it's like, what was it like working with actor X? Oh, he was awesome, but sometimes you can say it and you really mean it. And it's so trite to say we become like a family, but in 2 seasons, we have, and it's really a joy to go to work, no matter how hard the day is. You have to always remember when we're making something like this that is successful and you love the people you're working with, you're taking care of your family, doing something you love. You just have to remember you're not working at a sawmill, so anytime you start whining, something's wrong with you. And we're not the type of people who won't come out of the trailer because, they didn't give you the jacket you were supposed to have or something. So it's really great being around all these people. And with Taylor, too, he's very supportive of us.
And it starts with you. I mean, it starts with the number 1 on the call sheet. I don't think it's working. And that's the real truth that we saw last year, because Billy is in almost, every single scene, and he works, every day. And so when, he sets the tone for it, and then I'm right there next to him, which is the same thing. Like, we know our material, we're proud of what we do, we're showing up and bringing our A game, and that the crew is there too. Like, there's no egos on our set, and it's about how do we do the best work that we can, and it definitely starts with you. So,
Andy?
1, 2. Listen, I was blessed to get a phone call from Taylor saying he wanted to write this character for me. And I was a fan of his, of his writing already from many of the things he was doing. and it was a great surprise. And I had known Billy Bob. We had friends for a little bit over the years. We never worked together, but he's one of my favorite actors. He's really a sublime artist, and so I was really eager. But he told me, he said, "I'm going to write this character. He's like the head of the cartel." And I said, "There's cartel in West Texas in the Permian Basin?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Oh my God, really? All right." And then there was nothing written. Yeah, I said, "I'm all in, man." And he's created this character that now is continuing in the next season. And he was funny because he called me and he said, "I got about the second season." He goes, "I got to get to your character organically, so just be patient." Meaning like what episode I'd come back or whatever. And I just said, "I'm all in, man. I signed up with you. I'm here for the journey. I want to be a part of this show. It's rarely do you get as an actor this kind of material, and the kind of actors that are involved already. It was like a no-brainer for me,
You've all had such distinctive careers, and I wanted to ask, Taylor, obviously has become this powerhouse in television, and what is it that's distinctive about working on a Taylor Sheridan show, and how do you connect with his universe and what he's trying to communicate?
Well, first of all, I think he connects with. I think with his earlier shows, for instance, Yellowstone or something like that, I think that connected with a certain group. It was like maybe Between the Coasts. I think that show was really more popular in the beginning. I think later it became big with kind of everybody, and even internationally. But in the beginning, I think it was Taylor was seen as a guy who did shows for Middle America, maybe. But he really was connecting with them. He was showing them. It's like, Montana real estate. You know what I mean? It's like, and boy, does it get nasty. But also, I think now he's connecting with everybody because his characters are unabashedly who they are. And I think we're living in a time when you can't be who you are. And even people who secretly want to be who they are now saying, "You know what? I'm going to be who I am." And I think that these characters they just state what they are, what they believe, or whatever it is. So now this is, who would have ever thought a show about West Texas oil would become an international hit? But it has. And that's what we didn't expect. We expected it was going to connect with Between the Coasts in the United States. And the next thing you know, it's the #1 streaming show in the world. And we're like, wow, that's crazy. And then, I just believe that he writes without trying to target anyone. It's just he writes about what he's writing about. He doesn't pretend to do anything else, and I think as an actor, it comes across that in that writing, we just do what he says, and what he's trying to say comes across, if that makes any sense. I ramble, and I'm also not very smart. But that being said, I just think he does connect with people. People watch his stuff, and they find somebody in there that they identify with, and how many people are in the entertainment business in the room? A lot of folks, yeah. So it's great to be in something that's not only successful, but that really connects with people in a deep kind of way. Yeah, and it's funny.
I also think his writing pushes boundaries. He says there are scenes that are so entertaining because after the scene, I started watching the shows, watch the whole season like of Landman, and I would go like, did they just say that? Did that just happen? Did they just have that conversation? What kind of relationship is this? This is exciting, stuff that you don't see. It's like milquetoast usually. And he writes about real people, real situation, the way people talk to each other in a way, the way couples talk to each other, these new relationships that are sort of messed up. So he's pushing those boundaries that people they're saying, yes, especially, in the world we live in today, everything is so careful. and he's just writing the truth, the truth of how people behave, what they think, what they want to say that you're not supposed to say. Well, they just say it, because people in life just say it,
Well, we
So
said it
that's what
before.
excited me when I saw the show,
Yeah, I mean, we say all the time that Taylor is not saying yay oil or boo oil. He's just saying, here's how it works. You know what I mean?
Also, he surrounds himself with amazing people and incredible crews and casts, so that helps every bit of the step. I mean, we're always in such great hands and in such comfortable places when we're doing this that it really helps. So he's great at people.
I think what really comes across also is the chemistry between all of you guys, because I'm sure you've all been in projects where there is chemistry and there isn't chemistry with the people that you're working with. So how do you, I don't know how much you worked with each other before, probably not that much, but how do you get to that magic chemistry that really comes across on screen?
So, you never know if you're going to have chemistry with someone, but as actors, that's your job, and you have to find it. But when me and Billy met and we started, we had all 10 scripts. So it was really exciting that we were able to see the journey of these characters and where they were going. And, that this was this, love story that they were trying to kind of come back and find if they still had it and they could make it work and she could heal her family and bring everyone back together. And so a lot of it on the page was there was some vitriol, and it was they were always at each other. And Taylor likes to really put the pedal down, and he loves to push me. He loves to push Angela to like really have that kind of high stakes moment. And one of the things that we found, because we knew that with television, we knew where the story was going, that it could go on for many, many years, is that we wanted to have a beautiful, messy, complicated love story, and one that had, you could fight with each other, and then at the end, it's, I love you, babe. It's really, that's what it is. And they're able to say things to each other because it's not a judgmental relationship. And so that's something that I think we put in a lot of work to find that with each other so that we could put it on the camera and put it on screen. So, yeah.
And Jacob, what about you and your chemistry with these other people?
It's all pretty organic. I mean, it's one of those things where it's such a lucky situation where we all just clicked immediately, and it seemed pretty effortless to have it, which is not always the case at all. But it's just again back to being surrounded with amazing people. Like, it all just worked, and we all fell in so quick that now it's almost effortless to have our connections. And same way across the board, like with everyone, not just sitting here. Like, the whole cast is that way, and it's awesome. It's so much easier, so much more fun to be able to think about the work instead of that.
Yeah.
Of course, in the episode we just saw, Andy's entrance is like, oh my God. It just comes across as this amazing twist. Can you talk about, just coming into the show at this point and what you can tell us about your character?
It's a bookend scene at the beginning of the season. There's a similar scene
Right.
with Billy in the potato sack, and with the same character, messing with him. So it's kind of bookend, and he did mention it to me. I want to bring you in at the end. It's going to be a surprise. There's an actual. There was a whole scene that we shot. That's the episode you guys just saw, right? Right. So that you hear all this heat from Billy's point of view. You hear all this gunshot that's going on. Well, we actually killed, a couple dozen people up above the basement. And I shot about 6 people up there, but you don't really see me. Just see like my back of my head or my arm, and then I kill the guy, who was trying to kill him, and then I walk in. So they, for timing or for whatever decision, that part of the scene was taking off. I forgot your question. What was it again?
No, that's
No, no, but you were talking about chemistry. I just met Jacob. I don't like him very much. But Ali I love, and Billy I love. But the thing is this. The thing is this. The work as actors, is you don't do this stuff alone, and even if you have an antagonistic relationship with a character in the show, the greater the love between them, the greater the respect, the greater the generosity with your fellow actor, the deeper you can go into the antagonism, because you're holding hands together. It's not about being disrespectful to Billy. It's being disrespectful to Tommy. And he's being disrespectful to me. It's not personal to Andy. So, there's always that confusion. People say, I'm a method actor, so I hate you. I don't want to talk to you. And I say, well, you're in the wrong profession, man, because you're going to have a miserable fucking life. And so you can hold hands together and go jump together into antagonism and push buttons and do, crazy shit. And at the end, you go like, hey, that was pretty wild, man. That was a pretty good thing. So you can go further that way. And what I noticed, certainly with my work with Billy, that we went in, I felt enormous generosity and the amount of respect I have for him. And I'm there to service his character, to serve the story. You don't go and go like, this is about me. Yes, I have a specific function in this piece, and that's my job, to service the material that Taylor's laid out and to service that arc, and then go have a cocktail.
What was so amazing about that scene is that it's like you guys are you're the acting lions, just masters, but yet that scene is so quiet, but it communicates so much. Can you just, both of you, talk what it was like doing that scene and just doing that duel together? Because it was just an amazing, master class of acting.
Well, when I was coming up in the 80s, early 80s, I never got cast in anything through an audition. And one of the reasons was because they would always bring me in for bad guys. And if you didn't come in there and try to strangle the casting director and spit all over the walls and stuff, you didn't get the part. So I used to ask some of them, because I grew up in a very special way at a certain time and was around some things that were not exactly what most everybody else has been through. I was in a different business. And I would ask them, have you ever met a bad guy? Bad guys don't really yell and stuff. That's the guys that work for them. The bad guy is the guy in the corner who's just kind of sitting there observing. So when two guys get together, I'm on, not to simplify it, but you got the white hat and the black hat, but in this case, it's sort of a gray hat and a black hat. But they're both businessmen. They're both guys who have a function, and they know they need each other, and they know they have to talk to each other. So I'm actually happy in this scene that finally the boss got here. Somebody I can talk to, not just a bunch of guys who want to hit me in the face with another pistol or light me on fire. This guy I can talk to. So when Andy and I did that scene together, like I said, we'd known each other, or like Andy said, we'd known each other for years, first time working together. But when you've been around as long as we have, and by the way, we just did an Q&A at the Motion Picture Home, and we actually got rooms there today. So just to put it on hold. And
twin beds.
Yeah.
two beds.
And so anyway, but no, when two guys like us who have been around a long time, we kind of know that. It's like we know we're just supposed to be dealing with each other here. Nobody has to try hard to say what they're going to say. The worst thing you can do as an actor is think about it before you do it. And when you do it, try to make a point out of everything. It's like, just do what's there, and feel the way you would feel in that moment. So with Andy and I, it was very, very easy to do that.
Mr. Garcia, would you?
No, it's exactly what I was talking about. The great acting guru Sanford Meisner said, live truthfully within imaginary circumstances, and your performance comes off of the things in front of you, the person in front of you. It's not coming like arbitrary from all of this stuff that you've been thinking about. Naturally, when you dissect material, there are things that are happening in your subconscious, and the scene is floating like that, and that's all in there. And maybe that might surface, but you don't need to worry about whether it's going to surface or not. you kind of step into it, and then I got Billy in front of me, with a potato sack full of gasoline and a nail in his leg. And I remember when you were taking the nail out of your leg, which and you're going like that. I was like a second away from going, let me help you with that, just pulling it out, And I was going like, my mind, my third eye sort of going like, no, let Billy deal with it. It's fun to deal with it, But part of the sadistic thing is just watching him. Well, yeah, just watching him do it for a little bit, But those kind of things happen in the moment, and that's the beauty of it, when you're discovering the scene moment to moment, you have the basis and the arc of the scene that's written, and it was a beautifully written scene, and I remember there was one thing I just threw in there, and I said to Taylor, I really liked that you kept in this little throwaway line I did at the end where I said I'd give you my lighter, but it belonged to my father, and I had this idea previously because I thought, well. Just because this guy is this supposed bad guy doesn't mean he doesn't have a life, he doesn't have children, that he didn't have a relationship with his father and his mother, that he came from the United States as a young boy and he was in exile, he made his way, maybe got involved in the wrong track. But why did he get involved in the wrong track? Did he have to do it because his father was sick and he had to provide for him? You don't know what his background that got him into this world. You don't know what relationships you had. It's not all black hat in his family. So I thought maybe I'll throw that. So I thought, and I said to Taylor, because I thought maybe at some point when I do use that lighter in the show, that lighter is going to mean something to me and to those who saw it, and it'll have an emotional quality, and maybe that'll surface. So I said, thanks for leaving that in the cut, and he said, I caught it, because he's an actor. First, not first and foremost, but initially he came in as an actor, and he's almost like. The writing probably came out of his frustration for reading all this, material that wasn't strong enough in his eyes, and he started writing.
Speaking of emotion, Ali, Angela's just a volcano of emotion who's just going at 100 miles an hour all the time. What is your process in getting into that and just maintaining that intensity of that character?
Well, I love that Taylor wrote this woman to have so many parts to her personality. And, she's definitely someone who, well, it starts off with her, her desire to get back with the person that she loves and try to heal her family. And then from that, it's all the antics and the behavior that she does to make that happen. And she's a woman who is incredibly self-assured, and she's very bold and very emotional. But one of the joys on this set for me is that we don't always know where the scenes are going. It might have been written one way, but there's a freedom in it. And I think I really started feeling that and seeing it mostly in episode 5 after I leave the dinner scene and we go into the kitchen, and it's kind of written one way and we're completely going another way because you're so invested in the story and this character and her journey now, and that she is just a flood of feelings and can flip on a dime. So for me, it's being relaxed and having, understanding what her purpose is and what she's trying to achieve. And then in between takes, I'm sitting by myself in a room a lot because it's also a tremendous amount of energy when we're shooting 15-hour days and you're doing a scene for 4 hours. But I love that about her. And I love that Taylor wrote a woman who is so bold and provocative, but then you have these moments where, you see her, incredibly vulnerable and raw. And that to me is why I love the show and why I love getting to play her, is being able to, give all those dimensions.
And Jacob, what I love about your performance is that there's so much that is conveyed by your face, because there's a lot going on there, and you're not always verbal, but you just communicate so much with your eyes and your face and your emotion. Can you talk about Cooper and what he's going through?
Yeah, most of that emotion is, it's not acted. We're in such a great place, and our locations and our shooting, our sets are so miraculous and so real, especially through season 1, where that's what I'm getting to take in and see. That is real astonishment on my face. How did we make this happen? This is happening in front of us. We're going to, blow this up or do whatever this is, and it's real. We're not looking at screens. So a lot of that is completely real, and just me going, I can't believe this, But that's it's raw emotion, I guess.
So I know that we can't. There's a season 2 coming up, and I know you're probably sworn to secrecy about what's going to happen. But can you give us any clues about? We know that you're going to have conflict with. But can you give us any clues about what we can expect in season 2? I think Sam Elliott is joining the cast, and what can you tell us?
Well, I have a series. I have a franchise of ballet studios, which is my front. That's as much as I can say about it, but that's kind of where the story goes.
Yeah, that's. I just heard about that the other day. I didn't realize that part. Yeah, but yeah, it's Sam has joined the cast, and yeah, it's so hard to talk about the. We're not supposed to say anything, literally anything. The butler did it, but in the kitchen with a hammer or whatever that game was. But no, it's. I'll say this, that the family is. There's a lot more of the family, sorting this out this season. Sorting out who they are and how they fit together. That's one element that I can tell you. And this year it's different because we didn't have all 10 scripts. We're kind of going a couple at a time. So we don't even know what's going to happen. And some people like to know. Some people want all 10 episodes. I prefer, in a way, not having them. The only reason I would want to see all 10 is to make sure I don't get boned in any episode. It's like, wait, where the hell am I in this one, But other than that, as an actor, I don't need to know where it's going because in real life, we don't know where it's going. We don't know what's going to happen right now. One of you guys should get up and come take this microphone and beat me to death with it. I don't know. And so, we just, and I see one guy who actually wants to. I spotted him as soon as we got in here. But it's easy. I grew up in the music business. It's like, oh, there's the musician who's going like this. And, but yeah, it's actually as an actor, it's kind of good sometimes to not know everything. And as Allie and Jacob and Andy will tell you, I usually don't look at my stuff till I get there at work that day. I'm a moron, but I've always been able to memorize lines very quickly. Moron in every other way.
It is pretty wild on our show because, it's such a huge show. We've got 3 cameras going. We move fast. We take the time when it's needed. But because Billy doesn't like to rehearse, a lot of times we're going in and we're finding it, and it is very, very alive. And you need to be prepared and be ready to go and be able to handle the pressure of working with people that, are playing at the top of their game, which is like Billy and Taylor and Stephen Kay, our director. And I think that you can feel that in the first season, and you're really going to feel it in the second season because we all know where we are and we're kind of like sliding right into it. And it's it's special. So.
You're all amazing.
And is there
so much? Thank you.
That's very nice. Thank you very much.
Well, I want to congratulate you all again for making an incredible show, and I can't wait for season 2. And thank you so much for coming here and talking to us. It's really appreciated. If I could ask everyone a favor to just please stay seated while they exit, but please give them another round of applause.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.